Dear Harstem, I find Vipers imbalanced in the current gameplay. The ability to abduct and throw blinding clouds on siege tanks is ridiculously imbalanced, considering those units do not need to accumulate energy like the High Templar and Ghost, but can instead gain energy by trading health from their structures. This inherently gives Zerg a faster out when responding to siege tank and battle mech pressure, as they can simply throw a blinding cloud down and A-move. This game was wild. It was relatively even at the start, but I managed to get a slight lead in the mid-game by splitting my army and pressuring two bases at the same time, allowing me to snipe one of his bases and pressure the other. Everything fell apart when I was caught out of position and the opponent moved his entire army down the middle of the map into my natural and main, sieging it with his lurkers. Since I couldn't break the siege, I decided to attack his natural and main, but he held his main with a single lurker and a couple of hydras at the top of the ramp. The situation stabilized a bit after, but the opponent proceeded to abduct all my siege tanks with his Vipers, and that was the end of it for me. I said Viper OP and my opponent laughed. It was a good game nonetheless, so I called GG and left. Upon watching the replay, I can see two things I could have done better. Number 1, get Ghost. Number 2, better defend the area connecting my natural and third, so the opponent can't waltz right through. However, my interaction with the Vipers inherently made me feel like that the unit is busted and should be nerfed. So Harstem, tell me, are Vipers IMBA? Or do I suck? Yours truly, Shadow Mamba. As that's the person who submitted this imbalance complaint from a North American diamond player with 3400 MMR with a simple question. Are Vipers imbalanced? Or does he suck? Let's find out. Alright, here we go. Now before we truly get into this, I'd like to make sure that everyone is aware that Blinding Cloud doesn't actually work against Battle Mech, at least if the Battle Mech consists of Cyclones. Blinding Cloud stops attacks from working, but because the Cyclone lock-on I think is considered a spell rather than just a straight-up attack, you can still lock on to units despite being blinded clouded. So that is something that Shadow Mamba put in his complaint form, but isn't entirely true. Is that the Viper with Blinding Cloud is not actually that great against the Cyclone. Abducts are very good against the Cyclone, but the Blinding Cloud actually is fairly useless, or, well, completely useless. It just doesn't do anything. It's good on tanks, however. I'm not going to deny that. So we have a Reaper opener here with a double gas follow-up, quick factory as well. Let's just have a quick look here at the Reaper micro. Nice control on these links. Whenever I watch Diamond games, there's sometimes certain parts in the game that just look really good, and I think this link control honestly was quite nice. Like the early game feels relatively smooth, good overlord spread coming in as well, nice timing on the third base. Like opening wise, this is actually pretty legit what the Zerg is showing here so far. As our barcode Zerg, also coming out with a creep tumor, triple CC. This is obviously incorrect. So our Zerg player with a build order that makes sense and that looks like a real build. Our Terran player so far doing practically everything wrong. Cyclone before reactor finishes, meaning that you can only build one factory unit at the same time. Playing double gas, then mining a single SCV in this gas, 3 in the other, which is inefficient. And then having triple CC before third depot while playing double gas. Like none of this is a build. This is simply just, this is not real. Like it doesn't exist. I've never seen this, and that's because it sucks, not because this guy has figured out like something genius. You know, this is not Isaac Newton. This is an idiot who thinks he is Isaac Newton. This is a bad build order, and you shouldn't play it. Barracks in the wall, instantly also broadcasting to the world here. Hey, barracks in the wall, not producing anything. I'm playing mech. So when it comes to the first 4 minutes of this game, Shadow Mamba has done absolutely everything incorrect, game theory-wise, that you could be doing incorrect. Third base has been scouted, the fact that its mech has been scouted, and despite showing everything, he didn't really gain an advantage showing everything. Let me explain that. Sometimes in StarCraft, you can show everything, but because you're playing so extremely greedy or because you're taking certain risk, it is completely fine because yes, you get scouted, but at the same time, your third CC had an insane time, your double E-base are fast. You know, it sucks that you got scouted, but at the same time, you have a massive advantage because you played so greedy. That's not the case here at all. The case here is that his build sucked balls, and then despite rushing out a Cyclone as fast as possible, still didn't manage to deny the scout on the triple CC or manage to deny a scout on the fact that he's playing mech. All of this is extremely obvious right now. I'm not sure if our barcode Zerg here has figured it out, but I'm pretty sure this barcode Zerg has figured out. Starting with range upgrades, yeah, that feels like our barcode Zerg knows that it's going to be mech most likely. A lot of players love opening up with range upgrades, then getting a Roach Warren in order to deal with mech, rather than playing the double Evo melee upgrades, which is more of a standard thing to do against bio. Gas is coming out here as well. We're going to see more gases being taken for our Terran as well. Once again, just a god-awful build order, rushing into 4 factories, but being incapable of even continuously building out of a single one. 5 minutes and 30 seconds in, all we have is 6 Hellions and 1 Cyclone. This is just, quite genuinely, this just sucks. This has been a bad build order all around. Like the first 4 minutes were terrible. Now the first 5 minutes and 40 seconds are freaking terrible. The early game has been insanely good for the Zerg player. Not a single bit of damage. He managed to survive building 18 links, 7 queens, is now already teching into an infestation pit 5 minutes and 50 seconds in, has gotten full information. Like, I'm pretty sure in the imbalanced complaint form it says it was pretty even going into a mid game. If this Terran player truly believes that this is an even game, then there's something seriously wrong with this matchup. Like, if a Terran can open like this, do absolutely 0 damage in the first 6.5 minutes, while opening this aggressively with a double gas into triple CC, and then the game is even, there's something wrong with the game, and perhaps we should just consider letting Terran start with 10 or 9 SCVs rather than with the 12 they start with right now. This is not even. This is really nice for the Zerg. Look at this hive timing. That's beautiful. 4th base is up as well. 5th base is on the way. Creep spread. This is not great creep spread, but we're in diamond. This is fine creep spread for a diamond game. I'm kind of okay with this. So we're still going to get a pretty aggressive push here. A couple of Hydras are out already. Surround is going to connect with some of these Cyclones. Hydras coming in as well. And honestly, despite the very poor early game, Terran moves across the map. Zerg is not completely ready and is actually in a little bit of trouble. Good control with the transfuses though. Like the scan as well, getting some high ground vision, but Cyclone's not really being there. I mean, resources lost are pretty much even. Zerg is up 20 workers. Zerg is at hive. Faster upgrades. Like, I don't understand how you can look at this game and think to yourself, you know what? This looks really nice for me. This is about even, or maybe even slightly favored for me. Like, this is absolutely not the case. 80 workers already versus 58. Freaking Vipers coming out 7 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. Like, he pretty much, basically our Zerg player has figured out what the opponent is doing, hasn't died, and rushed right into the unit composition he wants to rush into. Whether that's the correct unit composition, I'm not sure about. If Ling Lurker Hydra is great against mech, I personally don't really think so. But he really, like, the plan here has been executed completely to a T. Like, this is as well as it's gonna go. This is literally as well as it's gonna go. Viper's now gathering some energy. As the tanks continue moving forward, 4GC on position as well, despite having no map control, is a wild move. Works out for now. Link's coming in with a surround as these Vipers hit a blinding cloud on a tank and get an abduct. Not a great trade for the Zerg, but probably good enough for now. I think I just saw a 3rd Evo. Okay, actually a 5th Evo chamber being thrown down. Gonna rotate this army after scanning. This is insanely risky here by Shadow Mamba. He's just A-moving his entire army to different sides the entire time. No siege tanks at home. Single Ling run by would kill every single worker here. 3 Lings would kill this base as well if they would be sent. Like, a lot of risk is being taken here that isn't even being capitalized on by the Zerg player. Basically, Shadow Mamba has been playing risky this entire time and got away with it and still is in a crap spot just due to bad macro and bad opening theory, really. And also bad mid-game theory. Still only +1 as well, despite having double armories, not researching anything. Once again, 2 factories, not really producing whatsoever. This factory with a reactor only producing 1 unit as well. Now gets surrounded next to lurkers. Did I make it up? I don't think so, right? No, I didn't make it up. This game was wild. It was relatively even at the start, but I managed to get a slight lead in the mid game. Relatively even at the start. The word relative is doing a lot of work there in that sentence. Relatively even. It's like relative to what? Holy crap. Like if you compare it to a seesaw with a freaking sumo wrestler and a 3-year-old baby on it, then yeah, this game might be relatively even. But this is not really what I would call even. This is betraying the word even in my mind. Like this is not true. 87 workers now to 75. Fort base is up. It's an orbital once again. We haven't had a single tank just defending any position. This Zerg player not going for any run-bys or any counterattacks is doing a lot of work here for Shadow Mamba. Like he's completely unprotected right now. Like he once hasn't had his hands up like a single time. He's just standing there with his hands down. And our barcode Zerg just isn't hitting. He's just staying defensive. He's trying to play his own game. I really feel like the Zerg has been playing significantly better. Like actually significantly better. So far that hasn't even resulted in that much of a lead anymore. At this point the game actually is even. Or, well... okay, maybe it isn't. It is 14 Cyclones versus 8 Lurkers. Lurkers are actually a good counter, by the way, to the Cyclone. If you have Cyclones and you're fighting against Lurkers, you probably want to transition into a much higher tank count relatively quickly, because Cyclones can't outrange Lurkers. Also, at the 8-minute mark, the Vipers got scouted already. Okay? The Vipers got scouted already. We have no response yet. Well, the response is just not changing anything. Like, we tried nothing, we're all out of ideas, really. Like, still just pumping tank Cyclone. No Vikings, no Ghost, no Thors. Although I'm pretty happy about the fact that there are no Thors. I think Thors are a poor counter to the Viper. You need a lot of Thors for it to be really a counter. But like a couple of Vikings would be doing quite a bit here. Love this split, though. I think this is a good split. This is exactly how you should be using Cyclone Hellion, especially against something like a Lurker. Then you try to push into this. Could probably morph these Hellions into Hellbats to tank a bit more damage and also deal a bit more damage. But these were good moves. This was a very simple tactic here. Just having your army in 2 parts, killing one base on the right, then dealing a lot of damage on the left side. Your first good move, and also the only necessary good move, apparently, because your opponent pretty much folds instantly. Did not have an army split. Now, you could be doing the same thing here. Once again, moving forward, going towards the right side. That would be good, because, well, there was, quite frankly, nothing over here. But instead, you're deciding to stay home, move everything to the right side. This is like if you're in a boxing match and boxing match and you just have your right arm up and the other one is just behind your back. It's like if the other guy starts punching the left side of your face right now, you're gonna be in serious trouble. Like some serious trouble. Okay, Cyclone's moving in. This is once again a good move. I actually really like this move. This is good movement. I completely appreciate this. 100%. Then at the same time, you also have this one coming in. This is also a good move. So that's 2 good moves here in a row. This fight should be okay-ish for you if you scan. Even if you don't scan, apparently. Blinding Clouds here are fine-ish. This is an okay trade, though, for the Terran, because you're also dealing damage here. This is a winning move. This is absolutely a winning move. So what you want to do right now is probably get some sensor towers, some turrets, make sure that you know where your opponent's army is coming from, and then make sure that you have a proper tank spread out, because right now, your third, your natural, and your main base, really the bases where the Zerg probably should be considering attacking, are all extremely exposed. Like, there's just no sense of anticipation here. Like, what if he attacks into my third base? I don't think you've ever asked a what if question in your entire life. You just kind of take it as it goes, you know? And so far, it's surprisingly working out. You know, you're the luckiest man alive. You didn't have money for rent this month. And when people ask you, shouldn't you start working? You're like, no, don't worry. Get these 2 lottery tickets. And they're like, come on, you can't be serious. And then the lottery comes around and you actually do end up winning enough money for rent. It's like, this is your life right now. This is what's happening. Your entire army was positioned on the right side, and that is luckily where your opponent decided to attack. Had it been the third or the natural, you would have just straight up died. You still have nothing to really deal with the Vipers. Your tank count, however, is growing, which I do appreciate. I think even a heavier focus on tanks here would be good. Double starports are out, so Viking production could start. Liberator production could start, and as you're building fusion cores, I'm expecting this to be Liberator production with advanced ballistics. Either way, you're in a spot right now where it's practically, I would say, unlosable. The only way that you could lose is if your opponent realizes that you never defend, well, majority of your bases and everything is positioned on the right. You also have no vision in the middle part, by the way. Actually, you have no vision anywhere. You have vision on the bottom side, and that's it. If your opponent attacks you here, if your opponent attacks you here, if your opponent attacks you here, even if he comes from the left side, you're going to be in serious problems. And right now, Zerg is moving towards that area. There's going to be 4 lurkers in this spot. You managed to take them out. Good scan and nice tank fire, I guess. I'm not sure if these are real compliments, but I'm giving them to you. This is like complimenting someone on managing to step out of bed without killing themselves in the morning. It's like, I guess good job, but yeah, I mean, good job. I'm proud of you. You saw that the lurkers were there earlier and you managed to remember. We're all proud of you, son. You're gonna make it big sometime with your next lottery tickets. Okay, nothing defensively at home as we saw before. 4 Tors just stuck in the main base for whatever reason. The Liberators try to get back home. We have a pure Cyclone army that's now going to town on this Evo chambers. This is actually some really good thinking here by Shadow Mamba. Is that whenever you're finding yourself in a base tray where speed is of the essence, it's really important to start taking out Evo chambers that aren't researching anything. Just in case your opponent decides to start researching +3 carapace. You wouldn't want your opponent to all of a sudden have +3 carapace. This mining is not so important, but the potential of +3 carapace, that is some serious crap. And I'm glad that Shadow Mamba here managed to keep that in mind. Send all of the tanks back home as well. I like that. Scans this lurker. Walks up anyway. I love these types of moves. It's like, oh, that single lurker. Let me use all my units in a line. Good move. Also, while seeing 6 more lurkers being morphed in, could have probably just taken out this base with this lurker. Instead, tried to go up the ramp, lost everything. And now you're pretty much losing in the base trade. Another cool thing to realize here is that all the production went down. Like, not a single building tried to fly away. They all just got blasted. There's like freaking, what, 8 factories here? There's 8 factories, 2 starports, and a barracks. Every single building here has died. They're all gone. Dead. Now, we do see the next barracks coming up right now. That I do love to see. Because you're probably going to need a barracks to start building the factories again. I love the anticipation here once again, by the way. This is just beautiful stuff. You see your entire base being ripped to shreds. No extra factories here being built while you still have a barracks. No barracks being built while you still have the factories. No buildings flying away. Just casually floating, what, 8k resources? Like, ah, dang it, I can't spend it. Let me just build this barracks real fast. Like, in general, the anticipation level in this game has been the level of a freaking duck. Oh, there's bread there. And then in the winter, you know, ice everywhere. That looks annoying. Where's the bread? It's like, holy crap, dude. It's like, on the scale from duck to squirrel, you're to the left of the freaking duck. It's actually insane. It's like, no, factory, I don't have so much money. Can't spend it. That is difficult. Do you have advanced ballistics? Still no advanced ballistics. That's just lovely as well. Like, what are you doing right now? Like, what is this? Okay, he builds the factories, then sees these lurkers. It's not like we're doing some crazy multitasking here, yeah? Okay, you see these lurkers? See these lurkers? See these lurkers? See these lurkers? No anti-air? But because he only has a single control group, he moves the Liberators like they're ground units. God, this is why I hate all Terran players equally. No, actually, I hate some Terran players more. And I specifically hate you more, Shadow Mamba. Scan, scan, nice. I feel like if these lurkers wouldn't have moved into the unsieged tanks, these lurkers never would have died. I don't think Shadow Mamba ever would have managed to gather the courage to go there. I don't think it would have been possible. We're about to hit something else beautiful. Look at this. This is the freaking duck in Shadow Mamba. Once again, just coming out to play. Look at this. All factories here about to finish up. He's like, hey, factories, nice. All right, Time to produce some units. Oh, supply block. Then he'll have to start building freaking 6 depots at the same time. Oh, no, first a starport. First, 2 starports. Yes, very nice. Let's see when it is that Shadow Mamba will realize that he ran out of bread. Let's see when he realizes. Good lord. Bumpy dum, let me build my starport. Oh, well, the reactor. Okay, so now, 10 seconds before the reactor's finished. Actually, that is only 8 seconds too late. No, 21 seconds for a depot. So that's only... I can't do math. This is so sad. 11 seconds too late. That took way too long. 21 minus 10 remains difficult for Kevin. As we see, triple depots being built right now. Starport's on the way. Some nice unsieging. Oh, this is beautiful as well. This is complaining about Blinding Cloud the entire game and then making sure that your tanks stack so much that a single Blinding Cloud could kill them all. Now, at this point, Abducts got used, which I think is actually the correct call. But still, the fact that you managed to clump every single tank right on top of each other is quite honestly just impressive. Damn! You only had double my supply. And you just managed to destroy me. What do they say? I really think Vipers need a nerf. Too OP. GG. Like... what did Shadow Mamba want to happen in this game? Sometimes I imagine a world that the Terrans want, and I can't imagine what it looks like. He played Cyclone Tank the entire game against Viper, Lurker, Hydra. Like, no unit counter at all there. Like, and this game was still relatively close. Had he had any tanks in position with turrets at home, he probably would have just straight up won this game, despite building the complete wrong unit composition the entire game. Like, how many mistakes are you allowed to make in the mind of a Terran and you still should be winning? I feel like Terrans literally are people that need a freaking trophy for everything. It's like, oh, you managed not to get supply blocked in the first 2 minutes? Good job, Mr. Terran. We're all so proud of you. It's like, meanwhile, his build order is complete garbage. 3rd CC, double gas, 3rd depot in there as well. Manages to have 6 Hellions 5 minutes and 30 seconds in. Then he still wants the compliment because he almost had perfect SCV production during it. Like, he literally does everything wrong, has 0 map vision, has no build order, macros like a squirrel, and has the anticipation sense of a freaking duck, and the spine of a teabag. Like... how... I just don't understand what Terran players think is difficult. Like, is it just because you managed to pick Terran in the lobby screen that you deserve MMR? No, that's not how it works, my friend. That's not how it works. Viper is a really good unit if you don't build anything to counter the Viper. Let me tell you, the tank is a great unit if the Zerg doesn't build anything to counter the tank. If this Zerg would have run 500 roaches into 20 tanks the entire game, I don't think the Zerg would have gone like, oh, tank's very strong. It's like, no, we built Vipers then, you idiot. Or Brute Lords. Like no other race but Terran looks at this replay and thinks that somehow the Viper here is imbalanced, despite making 0 attempts to kill it. So no, I don't think that the Viper is imbalanced. No, Mamba. Shadow Mamba. I think it is you who sucks. That's just the way it is. All right, it's going to be it for me today. If you believe you have some true imbalanced and you want to put yourself to the test, be sure to submit a replay with the form down here in the description. A Google form, just fill it in, put it up, make a little drawing if you want to. If not, don't make a drawing, we don't care. And we'll see all of you next time for more videos. Thanks so much for watching, and bye-bye.